I love her, and her superpower is her heart. It's nothing supernatural. It's something that all of us have. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy Snow White. Thank you, guys.
I'm sorry. That was acting. That's what that was. I don't really care what happens with this movie. I really hope her career is pretty much over. I'd be thrilled to see that. I can't imagine. I mean, Christian, you tell me.
There is a mirror on the wall. For whom is Megyn Kelly enraged? Disney has released its adaptation of the beloved Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Even though this 2025 version is set in the past, it still remains close to the original. Alongside Gal Gadot as the evil stepmother, and a few other ensemble cast members, Rachel Zegler played the contentious lead role. However, not the Seven Dwarfs. All of them are CGI.
Really uplifting and the right way to be woke, Link, when you actually cancel the roles for the marginalized population, because just putting them on screen is somehow racist.
Here, we don't want to stray too far, so we'll limit our discussion to the fundamentals of Disney's live-action adaptation. It stinks. Megyn Kelly and a few other critics appear to believe that at least. Furthermore, it didn't just fail due to either too little or too much representation. Or, to be honest, not simply because it's a classic with a retold plot. No, Megyn Kelly thinks you can focus only on the lead.
Behind the scenes, you guys know as well as I do that those executives like Spielberg are looking at that, saying, Rachel Zegler can F right off.
Sure, because of herself, Snow White was a failure. Link Lauren and Christian Toto were invited to discuss it on Megyn Kelly's program. Before we really discuss what was said on the March 2025 episode of The Megyn Kelly Show, you should be aware that the political pundit had previously brought up Zegler on her podcast, and it was not pretty. This is what she said. Disney, hello. This woman is a pig, and you fired Gina Carano for considerably less than this foolishness, therefore you'll have to retake your movie. Rachel Zegler is this woman. For those of you unaware, Carano, the Mandalorian star, was fired by Disney in 2021 for drawing comparisons between the persecution of American conservatives and that of Jews in Nazi Germany. In light of this, you have to ask yourself, what could have been worse than what Snow White's lead from 2025 said?
You know, one of the reasons why Rachel Zegler sticks around is she's got a beautiful voice and she has some talent. So I think that certainly helps her because she's a PR nightmare. I don't know how anyone would hire her, but again...
Rachel Zegler was among those who were incensed in November 2024 following Donald Trump's re-election as the country's 47th president. She vented her fury on social media, ending her lengthy tirade with the words, "I wish Donald Trump and his supporters never know peace." Sheesh. Megyn had a lot to say about Zegler's remarks at the time, and she wasn't the only one who wasn't overly happy about them. Nevertheless, she had a fresh start for the podcast episode in March 2025. This time, it applied only to Zegler's portrayal of Snow White. Megyn Kelly was not amused that history was repeating itself. Christian Toto and Link Lauren, her guests, weren't either. It's Toto from the Hollywood and Toto podcast. It's safe to assume that Zegler's performance did not impress them either.
Talented, she's attractive, she's got skill, but there are a lot of actresses in Hollywood who bring all that to the table and are not going to absolutely sabotage your work.
Toto had seen the movie, and the shocking thing is that he didn't mind it all that much. He thought that although Disney made mistakes and Snow White wasn't as successful as they had planned, it wasn't the failure everyone had expected. Yes, the storyline was overly woke, and the CGI dwarfs were strange, but that only made the whole movie, at worst, a little awkward. Rachel Zegler was the only true issue, and not because of her acting. They all believed that Zegler's attitude prior to the film's premiere was the root of the entire issue with the film. There weren't just a few issues, there were several, and the majority of them were somehow related to Zegler. In fact, Megyn attacked Zegler for attempting to advance the woke agenda for a German classic, thereby destroying Snow White. You may recall the notorious video in which Zegler criticized the original for being strange because it exalts a stalker. Indeed, the prince would be that stalker.
So yeah, no, Rachel Zegler, she needs to be more grateful for the role she had. If I were cast in a Disney movie, I would be saying, I love Disney, I love Snow White. I wouldn't be saying anything negative.
Let's just say that Zegler's apparent intense distaste for the film she was supposed to star in hindered her efforts to promote it. Yes, she attended each advertising event. Indeed, she would have wonderful things to say about her experience working on the movie, but she had nothing wonderful to say about Snow White. And Megyn Kelly was simply unable to understand that. To be honest, it's difficult to accept that an actor accepted a major role even when they didn't identify with the character at all. Rachel Zegler was never the right fit, looking back. If we told you that it took Disney 9 years to make the 2025 Snow White, would you believe us? The news of a live-action adaptation originally surfaced in 2016 when Mark Webb was revealed as the film's director. so you'd better believe it. Webb started to work right away. After only a few days on the job, he was already discussing the contemporary version of the screenplay with Greta Gerwig and Aaron Cressida Wilson. In addition, he was seeking a starring actress and was receptive to suggestions. Steven Spielberg, yes, the Steven Spielberg, the greatest director of all time, offered Webb a suggestion. You can be sure Webb was not going to turn Spielberg down. Maria, also known as Rachel Zegler, was suggested for the part by the West Side Story creator. Let's get to it, Webb remarked.
Every young person dreams about a phone call like that. I've been lucky to have a few of those in my life, but this one is certainly extra special as a huge Disney fan.
Superb. In a matter of days, Gal Gadot was cast as the evil queen after the lead actress was confirmed. This is where we discuss the movie's first controversy, though. For those who love Disney, this is a fun fact. Snow White is the first and youngest Disney princess. Sure, Disney's first princess, Snow White, was based on the German fairy tale and debuted in 1937. She had a very different appearance from Zegler. Disney would not have been the first to experiment with the originals in this way. There was a lot of opposition to Halle Bailey's casting as Ariel in the live-action adaptation of The Little Mermaid. On the one hand, the casting drew criticism. Critics contended that rather than adapting a classic to fit a woke narrative, Disney had every chance and financial means to produce a fresh fairy tale. However, we are living in the current era. Do we really care about a character's ethnicity, especially when it has nothing to do with the plot? The ethnicity argument could never end. However, the discussion changed to something else while the film was actually in production. Do we genuinely believe Rachel Zegler was interested in this role? Referring back to our earlier discussion, it appeared that the lead actress had nothing positive to say about the role she was portraying. You would think that would be the first thing people would need to worry about.
Now you have Rachel Zegler saying, oh, that 1937 movie, that's just, oh, it's tacky, it's weird, we're going to change all that. I mean, what a difference.
Is it possible that Steven Spielberg made a mistake? Has Rachel Zegler reversed her own statements because Disney is so desperate for a hit? And now, after 3 years of production and many years since the movie's inception, Snow White is at last here. The path has been lengthy, with one controversy after another. But now that it's here, Zegler has one final task from Disney executives: promote the movie. Zegler discussed the movie in an interview on Good Morning America. It all comes down to bringing a classic to these lovely young folks in the present era. Her heart is still her superpower. That has always been at the heart of this tale. You know, that has always been at the heart of the Disney business. Now, when she described the movie as strange and one of the key characters as a stalker a few years ago, this was clearly different from the entire discourse. Megyn Kelly thinks that since her career is under threat, Zegler is attempting to maintain her reputation with Disney. Kelly actually delved deeper into the Zegler topic on her program. She went on to discuss the alleged animosity between the two prominent women. That's correct. Add this to the mounting pile of Snow White disputes. Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler are said to be incompatible. After posting Free Palestine, Zegler also received criticism. The Israeli army used the dough, which comes from Israel. Now, there are rumors that this is due to their divergent political views, or simply the fact that they didn't get along on set. Maybe we won't find out. What we do know is that Zegler is unlikely to appear in another Disney film for a very long time. Not only because of her remarks regarding Snow White, but it's also said that she has spoken many disparaging things about her co-workers in Hollywood as a whole. An actor who is not fond of the business. Yes, Megyn Kelly believes that is not the proper mindset for the position.